Hey everybody, welcome back to the cabin. You can hear Callie running around behind me chasing squirrels. Thanks for your patience over the last several weeks. My wife and I went on an ambitious road trip across Canada. So we left Ontario in late August and spent 3 weeks traveling across Canada. So over 20 hours to get outside of Ontario, and then we went through Manitoba, Saskatchewan into Alberta, where my two daughters, Erin and Emily, met us. They flew to Calgary, rented a car, and then met us over in Kananaskis country. And then we drove up into Banff, and we stayed at Storm Mountain Lodge, the 100-year-old log cabin sort of resort lodge that my wife and I stayed at 2 years ago. So we stayed there for 4 days, and then we drove up into Jasper, and they spent 1 or 2 nights there with us, and then they flew home. My wife and I got back in the truck and drove up the Alaska Highway into the Yukon, then back down the Stewart Cassiar Highway, so down the west interior of British Columbia, stopped over into Hyder, Alaska, and filmed some brown bears feeding on salmon there. And then we drove back east into Jasper, spent a couple more days there, then back in the truck and all the way back across Canada to the cabin. So over 3 weeks, 175 hours I think I put on the truck, and 13,000 kilometers, so about 8,000 miles. So big trip, but it was awesome. We saw a lot of amazing scenery. We had nearly perfect weather. It was sunny almost every day except for 2 days that my daughters were there, of course, but skies were pretty dramatic, and we had enough dry periods to make the best of it. The wildlife we saw was just awesome as usual. So elk and bear, woodland caribou, so the first time my wife has seen wild caribou, bison, wild bison in the mountains, northern BC and Yukon, some stone sheep and fox, and just some miscellaneous smaller stuff, a couple moose that we didn't get on film. But perfect trip. Got to spend some time hunting and fishing. You'll see a lot of hiking, just Cali and I, of course. That's what we filmed for the channel, but as you know, on this trip my wife was with me for most of the trip, and then my daughters for part of the trip. Northern BC, you've probably heard or you've experienced the smoke that's been drifting across all of Canada and the northern states. Well, we've had these fires burning throughout Canada, but we happened to be driving through one as they were just putting it out, and fortunately we did get a little bit of rain while we were there, but you can see the aftermath of the fire as well as some of the active hotspots. So along the edges of the road, they keep them from burning, partially just because there's aspens there instead of spruce, but then they water bomb the road to keep the fire from getting onto the roads or burning cars up. So along those roads you get this little strip of greenery, and we saw a bear kind of crouched in there hiding, a black bear hiding from the fire. It looks like it had just outrun the fire and was exhausted resting there, so that was sad to see. But so a lot of devastation. You can see how everything's burnt right to the ground, but on the other hand you can see all the older sections that have been burned over the years are the most lush areas, the most green, and have the most food for wildlife. So fire is destructive as it's happening, but it's actually necessary for the landscape and helps to regenerate the landscape. So the bears are abundant, ironically, in the areas following a fire because of all the berries and greenery that comes up, succulents that they can eat, and the forbs and so on. But then, that succession that you see in forests, you see in the mature sections where there's less wildlife, but different species. Like the woodland caribou, they like the unburned forest where the lichen grows that they feed on. Now, when you're watching this video, I'll actually be on a 7-day moose hunt. So when I get back from that, I'll start filming my work around the cabin, which, as you know, I've got a lot to do before winter sets in. So I'll be back to work, and by next Friday, so the last day or two of September, not sure what the dates are, I'll have a current video of me finishing up or starting some interior projects probably, or finishing some of the exterior projects that I've started before winter sets in. So I hope you enjoy this video. It's just a little quick snapshot of everything that we saw on this trip, and then when I get time over the next couple of months to edit the rest of the footage, I'll start putting it into longer videos, and you'll see really in depth what we did and what we experienced. So thanks for watching, I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you back here at the cabin next time. Take care. Chasing squirrels? you.